Hi and welcome to this Garden Gnome software screencast. This screencast is going to be looking at Pano 2 VR version 5.2 and our Google Street View export. Right, so if you're not familiar with Pano 2 VR, I'm just going to open it up and you're going to be hit with the welcome screen. Now the welcome screen allows you to start a new project, open a recent project. It will list recent projects down here if you've started to save a few. You'll also can access our getting started videos and some other videos, as well as the documentation and a newsfeed from our blog page. Let's close that, and this is what the interface looks like. Now this is for Street View, so that's what I'm going to be covering. We have a Google Street View button here, and we have the Google Street View tab. So if I click the tab, we move the we now show the Google Street View panel. Right, so I'm going to need to log into my Google account, and you do that by clicking the green check mark. It should list all your accounts, your Google accounts. Select which one you have, and once it's logged in, it will say allow. It's saying Pano 2 VR would like to view basic profiles and other bits and pieces, so you can ask it to allow that. That actually leaves a open web browser, so I'm just going to close that to keep things tidy. And you can see that I'm now logged in. There's my little picture and my name. We've got the Street View browser button. This is showing me that I've got 5 images with a total of 5,676 views. If I click the View Browser or Street View Browser, you can see that I've got, these are my 2 projects that I've already started, or my Street View projects. So I've got a 3 node tour of the Laomani Tower, and a couple of nodes when I was over in Toronto, Canada. There you go. So you can refresh that or do whatnot. Right, so that's that. You got the whole project upload. So when I've completed my project, I'm ready to upload it, you'd click that button, or you can actually upload individual images from a tour. And the connect symbol here is just to say that what's in the tour browser in here, if it's online or the Google server or not. If it's connected, that means the image here is the same as what's on the server. And this button is where you would add a place. Right, so with all of that said, let's add some images and let's get cracking. So I'm selecting a load of theta images I took earlier on this morning, drag and dropping them into the viewer. I could have quite easily dragged and dropped them into the tour browser, or I could use the open button here and selected all of these and clicked open. Now this is Pano 2 VR Pro that we're looking at. Pano 2 VR Standard also will have the Street View export, but it can only do one panorama at a time. Right, so these are all my images, and because this was with the theta has leveling data. Pano 2 VR reads the leveling data and brings them all in, so they're level. But it's quite possible that you might have the odd 1 or 2 images that aren't quite level. So what you would do is you would manually level them using the L keyboard key. Right, what we're looking for is vertical, anything vertical, because with panoramas, any horizontal lines can obviously get distorted now around the edges depending on the width of the pano or the window, but anything vertical should be a good reference point. So under the viewer settings, I've made sure that I've got my center marker selected, so I've got this center line. I'm looking for anything vertical and it needs to be straight. If it's not, like this lamppost, I can hold down the L key, and when you click it centers the panorama. I can then click and drag the edges up and down until I get that level. There you go, and that should level your panorama. Okay, so you would check all your panos to make sure they're all level, and once you've done that, what we want to do now is look at the GPS and make sure that that's fairly accurate. So we do that by clicking our map button. There it is, there's our map. I'm going to just make that slightly bigger, he says. Right, there we do. Okay, and going to zoom in a bit. I'll go to satellite view and zoom in, and here is where it thinks I'm standing, but in actual fact, if we have a look, I'm standing just left of this white mark on the roof. If we have a look here, it reckons I'm standing right of the white mark of the roof. So what it says here is right click to set position. So I'd move my mouse to where I think I'm standing, right button click, and it moves the map pin to where it thinks I am. So we can move it around. Or you can click the map pin and drag it to where you think you are and let go. There you go. Right, okay. So you would basically do that in all your panos to get all your GPS data correct. Now you need to do that because with Google Street View it uses the GPS for setting up your hotspots. So if your GPS isn't correct or your location isn't correct, then your hotspots will not be in the right place. Okay, so once that's done, what I also want to do now is fix north. Make sure that north is set correctly in all my panoramas. Now the Theta S has a compass, the Theta SC does not, so you will need to fix north in all of those. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in the viewer I'm going to make sure that I have my center mark selected, which I've got here. The center mark is the viewer settings are also on a button here that you can toggle on and off, so make sure it's turned on and you've got your center mark. Find something in the pano that you can line up and you can see in the Google Street View map as well, and here you can see that I've got the top of the roof at the end here and the top of the roof at the end here. So that's what I'm going to do is click pick landmark and then select that, and that should then point that's now correcting for north. So where I'm looking in the pano is where I'm looking at the map. So if I now spin it round to the boat, you should see that I'm now looking at the boat straight on, and we've got the boat in the map looking there as well. So that's pretty much that. The other way to check, of course, is if I'm looking at the panoramas, if I'm looking, I've got this wall going across and I'm fairly straight with that wall as well. So that's making sure that my north is set by using the map. I can also, if I deselect that, I know that that's sort of roughly north in my panos. If I press and hold down the N key, it brings up the compass, and I can then click and drag, and that can also change the north in the images as well. So I'm just going to Command Z that, and that's going to put that back to where it should be. There we go. So that's another way of correcting north. It's just, again, holding down the N key, and then you can just drag the compass around the viewer. Right, okay, so that's our GPS fixed, that's our north and heading is fixed. What I might want to do now is fix the panoramas. Now, if we look, I've got a tripod. Now, theoretically, if I was to do this properly, I'd probably stand underneath the camera on a pole. So if I added a logo or something at the bottom, it would cover me up as well. I haven't done this here because this was just a quick set of images to show you how this is working. But what I'm going to do is add a logo to all my images, and the way I'm going to do that is to click the Tour menu button and edit master node. Now anything we do in here affects all the panoramas, so I'm going to cursor down till I get to the down, and I'm going to select patch mode, double click. Now the patch is actually snapped to zenith and nadir positions, so I've got it snapping to my nadir. And then what I'm going to do now is open up an image. There we go, I've got a little logo ping, open it up, and I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And once I've added that, all I need to do to get out of edit master node is just click or select any of the images in the tour browser, and what we should do now is the images get updated. There you go. So if we now look, they'll all start to get the logo appear at the bottom. There you go. So how cool is that? Right, okie dokie. The other thing I need to do is when we were in edit master node, so let's go back into there, is when I was selecting the patch, we also need to select apply after leveling, because if we don't, what's actually going to happen is it's going to apply the patch before the leveling. So it's going to apply the patch at the bottom of the pano, then the pano may move, so the patch is not at the very bottom. So with this selected, Pano 2 VR will level up the panorama first, then apply the patch, so the patch will be at the bottom. So that's just a quick tip there. If that's not checked, then that's probably the reason why your patches aren't at the bottom. Right, okay, with that said, I'm going to go back to this pano, and what you might also want to do is tidy up the panos a little bit. Now I've got a shadow here from the tripod. I might want to get rid of that, and the way I do that again is I'm in patch mode. I get roughly in the center of where I want to be, double click, I'm adding a patch. I'm just going to change its aspect ratio, make it a little bit taller, and I'm going to just take enough out so I can cover where that area is, and I'm now going to click extract. Now Pano2VR will extract the patch. It will open up the program that's associated with that file type. In this case for me, I extracted a PSD and I opened up Photoshop, and I'm going to use the clone stamper, and I am going to clone out this shadow. So let's do that, and just there we go. Now when I close Photoshop, it's going to ask me, do I want to save the image? I'm just going to say yes, save it, and what will happen now is Pano2VR updates it, and now that shadow is gone. There you go. So that's obviously applying logos and with patching to tidy up images as well. Right, okay. So once you've done all that, what we're going to do now is look at linking the images together. Now they've all got GPS, and Google Street View uses the GPS for the hotspots. So what you would do is from the first pano is to drag the second pano into the viewer, and you've got these auto placements. We can auto place here or auto place both ways, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to let go of that, and I've now linked these two panoramas together. Now the order of the tour browser, by the way, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. All right. The idea being is that if I minimize that, we can then go across like that as well. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These symbols, by the way, you can see that some of them have got little checkboxes, or rather little warning signs. Basically, the warning sign is saying this node has no incoming or outgoing hotspots. We've just linked the first two images, therefore they don't have the warning signs. They've all got little satellites because all of these images have got GPS data. If they didn't have GPS data, there would be no satellite there. Okay, so that's how we've linked the first two images. What we can also do is use the tour map to link the images as well. So this is the tour map. I'm going to select the satellite view, and I'm going to zoom in. There we go. And the way that you link using the tour map is you select the node that you're going to go to, then select the node you're in and click link, and then you can set the link there. And we can carry on doing that. So go to that one, select that one and click link, and we can link up the panoramas that way. Alright, okay, that's pretty cool. Or easier still, because they've all got GPS data, we can go tour, automatic linking, sequential, job done. That's all the panos now linked together. Now what you can also do is if we click at the start panorama, or rather open up the tour map, there we go, you'll see that we've now linked all the panos together, but we've also got this link from the very last one to the first one, and I don't really want that. So what I'm going to do is go to the last pano, select the first pano, and then click the unlink button. So I've now only got the links between the nodes I want. Here we go. So that was easy to do. Right, okay, so with that done, what you can do now is hold down the N key, or the Alt key, sorry, and you can click your hotspots, and this, if you like, simulates the hotspots you will be seeing in Street View. So you can take the tour and come back again. There we go. So that's just showing you that, and you can sort of test if your hotspots are placed in the right areas. Okay, so with that all done, I've got my tour done. The only thing I've got to do now is add place to the images. Now what you can do is you can select a series of images, click place, and you can add a place to the series of images, or you can select just one of the images. In this case it's all at the Haybridge Basin, that's where I took these pictures. So I'm just going to add a place. I'm just going to type it in. Haybridge Basin, there we go. And because they're all at the same location, I'm going to click the copy button, and that now copies that place to all of my input images. As said, you can select a few of the images, or highlight a few of the images, add one place to it, select a few more, add another place if they're wider apart than just a few meters from each other. Okay, so once you've added all the places, all that's left to do now is upload your project. So basically you click the upload button, and what it's going to do is update the image list. It says to me 10 images not found in my Street View photos collection, which is right, and it will say that all the panoramas will get published now to Google Maps, and it could take several hours for the connections and hotspots to work online. It doesn't happen straight away. Once you've added all your or uploaded all your images, it takes a while for Google then to start linking all the panoramas together. So don't panic. Once you've uploaded and they're not linked straight away, give it an hour or two and you'll find that it just starts to work. It's just basically the speed of Google when it's up online. So let's click online, and you can see now that I'm remapping the input images, and once I've started to remap them, we're going to start to upload. And what will happen is that'll keep on going, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop talking, I'm going to let it carry on, and then what I'll do is probably speed it up for when we get there. Okay, so that's all uploaded, and what we should have now is our online status. There's now connections between our panoramas and the panos online. So if we now go to our Street View browser, you'll see that we've got these panos there, and what will happen eventually is that they'll all go into a group like these ones. But that's actually on the Google server, and you're going to have to wait until Google does that. But eventually all of these, because they're linked, will all go into their own little group. So it'll say this particular project's got 10 images, so you'll get a very similar picture to this and it'll say 10 images. There you go. So that's the uploader. That's how it all works, and that's that project now uploaded. What I'm going to do, which we probably should have done right at the start, is save the project. So we're just going to call it Google Export. But what I want to show you is if you've got a project that's already online. So let's just close all this down. I'm going to open up Pano 2 VR, and what we're going to do now is look at, of course, once you've logged in once and you open it up, it obviously will log in by itself automatically. But as we said, with the Street View browser, I can look at projects that I've already got. So if I look at the Layamani tour, I can select this and I can choose to download it. So it's going to ask me to save it, so I'm going to go to desktop, start new folder, let's call it Layamani, and click create, and just call it, I don't know, Layamani again, call it that. Click save, so that's my project, and I'm now going to download the 3 images. So I can now retrieve images from Google. So I'm just going to download these. There we go. So once they're all downloaded, I've now got them in my project. I can rearrange them. So that's going to be my first pano, that will be my second one, that'll be my start. So I can now obviously test the hotspots by pressing the Alt key. There we go, and yeah, that's fine. Now what I could do at this point is switch to the normal output and just generate a normal HTML5 output. Let's just add a skin, silhouette skin, and we can now just generate a standard HTML5 output to upload this tour onto my normal website. Or what we could have done is edited these images, so I could have had a patch, or there could be something in the image I didn't quite like, and what I would have done there is select the image, added the patch or whatever to tidy the image up, then go back to the Street View. Can't do it for the second because we're just publishing this out. Let's just wait for this to finish. Won't take long. Anyway, basically what you need to do is to remove the individual image in the tour and then upload the new one with the new data. You can't just update, that's a Google thing. But yeah, so here is the Layamani tour, but now it is a local tour and not a street view, of course we can do things like add transitions, zoom in before, zoom in after, don't bother waiting, zoom in 40%. I know I'm blasting through this, but this is just to give you an idea of what you can do with the images that were on your street view. There we go. So you can now publish this as an HTML5 output, and yeah, so that's what you can do as well. But anyway, as I was saying, if we go back to the street view export, I could choose one of the images. I would then delete that image from the Google server, and then I would upload the new one that's been edited. There you go. That's how to use the Street View export for Pano 2 VR 5.2, and thanks for watching.